What's going on, everybody? Please let me know that you can hear me. Josh, say something.
I'm here.
Yes, please let us know if you could. As you can see, it's a completely different setup. I'm trying to do something. Trying to do something completely new here. That way, you can actually get to enjoy some of my arts that I actually have set up here in my garage. But quick sound check. Dang, that's just harsh. Are you serious? That is just harsh. And actually, I don't even think I have this set up yet. You know what? I'm gonna try to add this real quick if I can. Actually, I guess I don't think I can. I don't have the ability to highlight my chats at this moment. I guess I dropped the ball. I dropped the ball on that one. But apparently, Josh sounds way cooler than I do. So this is good. As long as everybody can hear us. These are my wireless microphones that I've used solo, but I do have a pair. So Josh is wearing one here as well. So that way he can hear us. And so, yeah, here we are. Josh.
Finally.
Yeah. How long has it been since we were in Vegas?
Months.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we're finally able to get together to review our matches that we have. We have a total of 5. But given how I know the length of my live streams will typically last, we're only going to review 2 of them at the moment. So I don't want to keep him here all night. And then sometime we'll get back together again to review the other, possibly at least the other 3 on another night. But before we obviously get into the reviews and everything, I figured this would be a good time to really introduce you to my 8-ball Scotch Doubles partner, Josh. Josh, say hello to everybody. Let them know who you are, man. Like, when did you start playing pool, and how long have you been playing? Or like, what got your interest in playing pool?
I actually started playing pool because of COVID. I was turning into a hermit. I didn't leave my house for a year and a half. And my wife already played pool, so she just kind of got me into it. And it was my ability to go out and my way to go out and meet people and start making friends in the area again. So that's how I got started. And I was horrible when I started.
So if you're saying this was during the outbreak time frame, then you've only been playing for what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your current APA skill level?
I am a 4 and 8 ball and a 4 and 9 ball.
You weren't a 4 when you met me.
No.
So I see a question here. Like I said, I don't have the ability to highlight my chats at the moment. But Jay Coden, you're asking, are we going to be in Vegas in a couple of weeks? We are not, because at the time that we had qualified, Josh was a 3, and with me being a 7, when we play the qualifiers, our team skill cap can only be 10. And so when we qualified at the time that we went, Josh did end up going up to being a 4, and we had to play as a skill team 11 in Vegas. So anybody that was a skill level 10 or lower, we ended up having to give them a couple of games. But since he's a 4, we can no longer, there'll be no more future Scotch Doubles tournaments for the both of us since we can't pair up. I have to find another 3 that I'll probably end up turning into a 4 afterwards. Let's see here. Josh, I'm pretty sure everybody is going to be interested in knowing what is it like, or what has it been like playing with me / for me, or being trained by me?
He's really mean. No, he's not. Chris is wonderful. What you see on the YouTube videos, it's a lot of that in person. He breaks everything down. He talks to you, tells you what you're doing wrong, tells you how to get better. He reviews my matches, and he's not afraid to point out my faults. But he always gives me something to work on. And it's fantastic playing with him and being coached by him. So it's great.
You got to tell the story of how you got introduced to me.
Oh, so when I first started playing pool, of course, I'm on YouTube just like everybody else. I watch a lot of videos. So of course, I started watching pool videos. His channel pops up. So I am watching his channel, watching videos. All of a sudden, I'm at the pool hall one night, and I look over and he's there. And I fanboyed just like a lot of you. I literally, to the point where I was nervous to even go over and talk to him. And my wife played in BCA and had played against him and stuff. So she said he's normal, just like everybody else. And I said, you don't understand. He's one of the people I watch on YouTube. And so when he had an opening on his team, he posted it on Facebook. And my wife said, Chris has an opening on his team. And I said, I want to play. And that's how we got on the team together.
And it's been great. I love this question that I see from Near Sharoni. He's asking, what aspect of your game did you improve the most?
Knowing where the cue ball is going to go.
Number one thing.
Hitting softly and knowing where the cue ball is going to go.
I actually have plans on making a video about that. The number one, usually the very, very first thing I teach anybody that joins my team about learning where the cue ball goes by just hitting softly, not necessarily playing for position, but like you can't play position if you don't know where the cue ball is going to go. So hitting softly and just letting the cue ball roll around the table at least gives you a better chance of learning where the cue ball is going to go. So that way, as you get better, you can hopefully start to learn how to control the cue ball where you want it to go. So that's always the number one thing. The very first time I remember watching his first match, and like within his first like 2 or 3 shots, I'm like, dude, we got to start hitting the cue ball softer. And once he started picking that up, then that's when he started doing 3-ball runs, 4-ball runs. It's a little limited to be able to break and run a rack by just rolling the cue ball around. I mean, if the layout is perfect, you can clearly do that. But you're only going to be able to do so much by just rolling the cue ball around, hitting softly. So it does have its limitations, but in my opinion, it just has way more benefits because it helps you learn to become a better player when you identify, oh, look, the cue ball's already going in the direction that I want. I just need to maybe hit it a little bit harder or a little bit softer. And then the moment you get into hitting a rail, then that's where your side spins are going to start coming into play. And I don't really start teaching any of my players any of that stuff until I see that their shot making abilities are at what I would consider to be a decent level. Because they're always going to have a hard enough time predicting where the cue ball is going to go just to be able to set up for the next shot, thinking 1 ball ahead, depending upon where you are on the skill level ladder. But then as you get higher and higher up on the skill level ladder, then you start planning 2 balls ahead, 3 balls ahead. And Near Sharoni, this kind of goes towards your question here. Do you plan 3 balls ahead on every shot? That is the goal that I obviously try to get everybody to. But at the very beginning of it all, it's always planning 1 ball ahead. It's shooting a ball, have an idea of where the cue ball is going to go and where it's going to stop. And if you're correct, already have in mind what ball you're going to shoot at next. Because then when you go and execute, hopefully everything executes correctly, which is a nice confidence booster because it means that you knew what was going to happen. And if something completely different happens, you're hopefully going to learn something as well. So it's just a complete benefit to do that. So once they get to the point to where they're thinking 1 ball ahead, eventually, hopefully they get to thinking 2 balls ahead, 3 balls ahead, sometimes an entire run out. Let's see here. Oh, I like this question. This is from Sensei Nate Plays Pool. How often when playing doubles with me, are you attempting a shot you wouldn't have thought of on your own or are uncomfortable with? I think that's happened at least a couple of times.
A couple of times. With Chris, it's, and you'll see in the videos as we review them, he puts me into a good position most of the time. I'm usually the one putting him into a rough spot. But there was a time in our match to get us to Vegas where he called a timeout and he told me, you got to put a little bit of bottom and a little bit of left. And I want the cue ball to do this. And you're going to have to hit it with this kind of speed. And I was really unsure of it, but I just trusted in what he said. And sure enough, got the ball into the position he needed. And that was in our semifinals to go to finals. So
I do recall what you're talking about. So many people might wonder, like, when you're playing Scotch doubles, again, these are all just my opinions though. When you're playing Scotch doubles, like with someone of your skill level, it's a completely different game, right? Because you're just gonna kind of piggyback off of one another, because you both know how to manipulate the cue ball, you both know how to play position, so it's a little bit easier. But sometimes it can be a little nerve-wracking as well when you watch your partner, who you know plays as good as you, tries to do something that you wouldn't do because you saw an easier way to do something, and what they end up doing ends up messing something up, et cetera, et cetera. But I had to learn a long time ago, because not to care about what my partner does in reality, because I just have to hope that at least with when I was with Josh, since I've been training him when he plays APA for me, he already at least has an understanding of already what I want him to do for himself. Because when I have people play Scotch doubles with me, I'm like, play position like you would play for yourself. Because at my skill level, I should be able to figure out what it is you want me to do next. Now, sometimes you might not know what I want you to do next based on how I might flare the cue ball around or do whatever. So like our basic strategy that we had going into the qualifier and going into Vegas was all he needed to do was make a ball, and that's it. And obviously know if you're gonna scratch or not, because like I said, knowing where the cue ball goes, right? Very important. Because based on him making a ball, as long as I have a shot at a ball, then I'm going to try to put us back in line, because it would be up to me to try to maneuver the cue ball into a position like he was talking about, to where all he has to do is roll the ball. And the harder part on me is putting him into a position where he can roll the ball that puts me back into a position. So that was pretty much the trade-off. And there was only rare occasions where it's like, I would call a timeout. You can't roll the ball here. I need you to try this. And if he does it, he does it. And if he doesn't, he does it. It didn't matter to me. It allowed us to at least enjoy each other playing, and it's less pressuring as far as I'm concerned. Because has anybody ever tried pairing up with a lower skill level player, and they're always constantly like, "What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?" And your answer is just shoot the ball. Right. So if anybody can relate to that, I always try my best to make sure that my partners would understand that. Like, just go up there and do your thing. I really don't care if we win or lose at this. At least for this, it was already a great surprise that we qualified for Vegas, and then we did as well as we did in Vegas. We both made $100 apiece. Yep. Right? We got into the money, which far exceeded our expectations, considering that he went up to a 4, and we're now playing as a skill team 11 versus the skill team 10.
I told him, all I want to do is I do not want to get out to Vegas and lose twice and be eliminated. I at least wanted to win one match, and we definitely did that.
Yeah, who wants to go 2 in and 2 out for a tournament? I don't think anybody wants to do that. I did see an interesting comment here. Beverly Stint.
That's my mother-in-law.
Oh, well, hello. Welcome to our live stream.
I don't know if my daughter is in here, but my daughter might be watching as well.
Oh, here we go. Near Sharoni wants to know, says, many beginners tend to play aggressive on almost every shot. Do you practice safety shots?
Sometimes. I have learned the value of safety shots. And in league play, I do try them a lot. I'm not as successful, but I do try them. He's got it into my head to start looking for them and knowing when to play them and knowing not to knock balls off the table just for knocking balls off the table.
Yeah.
You need to have a plan and don't get all your ammunition off the table when you can't do nothing else. So,
oh, here we go, because we kind of talked about this, but we can go more into it. So Loping CSF wants to know that in his limited experience with Scotch doubles, he constantly feels pressure about not letting his teammate down, which I think is a very common thing. Whether it's Scotch doubles, teams, like if you're not playing for yourself, you're worried about letting someone down. This is wants to know if you've ever experienced that. Like, how do you feel at any point in time that you felt like you were letting me down during a mistake?
No. There was a couple times where I beat myself up, and you'll see them. You're going to see 2 of them specifically tonight, where it wasn't the reason we lost or whatever, but I did walk back and sit in the chair and go, that was stupid. But the way I looked at things was I have one of the best players that I know behind me. So he's gonna do his thing, and I just need to do mine. And mine was just make balls and try not to scratch.
And see, I think that's the most important thing, and this kind of goes towards the next question that I see here. We're only going to take a couple more, and then we need to get into the review process, because otherwise this is going to be a very long stream. Which I don't mind answering all these questions. This is Sensei Nate Plays Pool. It says his biggest pet peeve when playing doubles is when the partner apologizes for missing. What are our pet peeves? Mine would be the same thing. Like you missed. I mean, get over it. You know, if I set you up in a perfect position and you missed, get over it. If I set you up in a hard position and you missed, like it was a harder shot for you. Like the likelihood of you making it is less than if I would have given you a good position. So I'm of the same boat. Do you have any pet peeves on the lower skill level ladder?
No, not really. I think the most that I said sorry was I said sorry for putting him in bad positions. Usually when I would miss, as soon as I'd walk over, he would tell me something positive or tell me what I should have done on this shot. And that's just because he's a great coach. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, this is not really related to the stream, but I'll go ahead and take it up anyway. It says Marshall Demois or Demos. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It says you're having trouble completing the Moonlighting Billiards circle drill. Could you or have I done a video using it? So I haven't tried a complete circle yet. And if you're talking about keeping the cue ball inside of the circle as you shoot the balls into respective pockets, like some will go into the corners and some will go into the sides, I haven't tried it. I will simply say that basically on a lot of your shots, in order to complete it, you're going to be using bottom spin because you're trying to pull the cue ball back into the circle as you don't want to leave the circle. The only one that I've done is a semicircle around the side pocket. But that would be the simplest advice I can give you. It's just something that you have to practice. You have to get down. And usually figuring out a good order to start in is going to be good as well. Like I wouldn't say for certain, like should you start by shooting a ball into the side pocket and then try to trace, your path that you're going to take. If you can come up with a predetermined order as to how to shoot the balls in, because correct me if I'm wrong, if you're doing a full circle, it's probably 12 balls in total. And so I'm not entirely sure how you have them lined up to exactly where the balls can go into each of the different pockets. But that would at least be my suggestion on trying to complete it. All right, is there anything else? I don't think so. Okay. So I'm sure more questions will pop in as we go. We're gonna go ahead and try to review the first match here. This was ages ago, so I'm gonna be surprised if I remember anything. But I do know that during some matches there are very specific moments that I have just never forgotten. I think there's one in this one. I know there's one in the next one that we're gonna love talking about the next one here. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and switch to this. Y'all can still see us here in the lower right corner. All right, so I honestly wish I could remember the names of our opponents, but typically y'all have seen my streams now where I just call the opponent. But we are Bank V8. That was the name of our team that we decided because the game-winning shot that got us to Vegas was me banking the 8-ball. I had a shot on the to bank the 8, and I had to protect the cue ball at the same time. So I actually had to draw the cue ball back. So just in case I missed, there were 2 stripes still left on the table, and our opponents would have to try to bank those balls in. And I banked that ball so softly, drew it back, and we just all gradually watched that 8-ball just roll into the side pocket, and then obviously celebrated when it fell.
Shouldn't have been in that position if his partner would have made it the first time.
Yeah, because you remember that because he had the game-winning shot. He just ended up missing, and then our opponents ran the table and missed and left me that bank shot. And all I could do is I was walking up to the table, smiling and laughing, like of all the shots that I have to try. Why can't I just get like a straight in shot into a pocket? But we were able to take it. So
And we're wearing our Banksy 8 shirts that you see. So
the shirts that you're going to see here, we're also wearing them tonight. Near Sharoni and Aircraft, yes, these are played on 7-foot tables. And let's see here. So in this matchup, we are playing up against another team that is also a skill level 11. If I remember correctly, the female behind the gentleman that is lagging with me moved up to a 5, while the gentleman is a 6. And so with me being a 7 and Josh being a 4 at the time, both of us being at skill cap 11, this was a race to 4. Beverly, how big was the pool? This was at the Westgate Hotel in Las Vegas. There was over like 300 tables total, 300 plus. All right, so it was huge. It was in more than one room. And then go before 44. Like I said, Josh is ranked is still currently ranked a 4. After started off as a 3 when we first met, but then through my trainings and his practice and stuff, he's been able to move up to a 4. Possibly going to be soon moved up to a 5.
Briefly was a 5 in cities.
Oh yeah, that was the funny part. I almost had an 8-ball team go to Vegas, but we kind of got screwed when he moved up to a 5. And I'm not saying we got screwed as in it was his fault that he moved up to a 5. He just went up to a 5 during cities, and that kind of royally screwed our entire roster after that. And then we ended up getting knocked out in the semifinals. I think it was. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started, and let's see what happens. This is really not going to be any different than how like you guys watch me review my regular APA matches. We're looking to see who's going to break first. And you can see it looks pretty darn close. But it looks like they're breaking. Go ahead and let me see here. I'm using a different keyboard that I'm familiar with. So I think it's this. Try to speed things up. So their break. Oh! Ah! I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on. I should have programmed my hotkeys better than this. Okay, here we go. So a little bit of an attempt to do a head-on break, and we end up cutting the rack on the right side. I couldn't even tell what dropped. Let's see here. So for anybody that's unfamiliar with a Scotch doubles format, this is a partnered format to where each player has to take the players swap during every turn. So you saw that the gentleman had broke and made a ball on a break, so his partner comes up and shoots. If she successfully makes a ball, then the gentleman that broke will come back, and they just keep trading off back and forth. If the person misses, then obviously it's going to be our turn, but whoever missed, the next partner has to shoot after that. So we can see it looks like they've got stripes. And so y'all know how I do this, right? So like when we look at this table, immediately I'm thinking about this area right here, because this is their 9-ball. You can see that she's about to line up to shoot the 12-ball, bumps into the 8. And so I'm just curious if they're going to break out this 9-ball during this inning or not. Because if not, that kind of at least guarantees that we're coming to the table. It looks like he's glancing to go into the side pocket. Curious to see what he's going to do with the cue ball. Oh, tries to. Oh, and look at that. He's going for the breakout. So that was actually a really good effort. We just didn't make the ball. And even if he did make the ball, I don't think that ball goes anywhere. I think it's kind of tied up. It's at least a little bit more out in the open now. So I think since this is our first go around, I think I did look at you and go, you want to go first or do you want me to go first? So like when we're trying to figure out like who's going to start everything off, it's usually up to the players to figure that out. So what am I doing here? It looks like I'm trying to size up the 6-ball. Okay, 6 ball down. All I have is just some top spin. You can see that we're automatically set up for the 4 ball. So if Josh just rolls this ball in, right? Where's the ball? Where I can't even draw on this setup either. But if Josh were to just roll this ball in, we can see that he'll hit the 4, the cue ball will hit the rail, and then just kind of roll this way towards the middle of the table. That's all that I would ask him to do. I wouldn't ask him to try to do anything else. Because of the roll, there is the risk of the 14 ball coming into play, like you see here. But he makes the ball, and I'm at the table. Now this is where things get a little bit interesting. Because how many of y'all think I'm going to shoot the 5 ball? Give me some answers in the chat. And while we're waiting for some answers, let me just pause it here. Clearly, I'm not going to shoot the 5 ball if I'm asking that question. And look at me gesturing to see what the heck I'm going to do. All right, so we got a couple of people. Loping CSF thinks I'm going to shoot the 3. This is the difference between how I play Scotch doubles with a lower skill rated partner. Because I can't guarantee that if I were to play whatever pattern that I would want to play, that my partner is going to have the capability of moving the cue ball the way I would move the cue ball in order for us to complete the pattern, right? So in other words, I could, for example, shoot the 5 ball into the corner pocket and maybe try to go 2 rails around and break out the 2 and the 1 and possibly leave a shot on the 3, but I'm not guaranteed what kind of position I can have on the 3. And so if I were to do something like that, then I'm putting Josh in a more difficult position to make a more difficult ball. And I would rather take on the more difficult shots and try to leave him easier shots. And because of that, that's why you're going to see me do what I do here. I'm looking at the 1-2 combination because it is there. But if I make that 1-2 combination, I'm going to try to get the cue ball back towards the middle of the table. And if I'm successful, what can Josh shoot at? He can shoot at the 5 or he can shoot at the 3. He's got options. So if this were singles, I would probably not be playing this shot. I would probably be playing the 5 ball. I see. So he's got a shot at the 7. It looks like he might have a shot at the 1. I don't think he has a shot at the, or did I say 7? I meant 3. He's got a shot at this ball. I think he's got a shot at the 1 ball. I can't tell if he's got a shot at the 7 ball. So Josh, actually here, this will be good. Let's go back to right here after I made the ball, because try to explain to people like what you're thinking.
I am looking at each ball and seeing what can I do. What do I feel comfortable with doing? And what shot do I feel the most comfortable that I can make? And I settle on this one.
Oh,
let's see what happens.
Yeah, because what do you always hear me say when I'm reviewing my own matches? What do I do when I come to the table? I observe every ball on the table before I make a decision. And you just saw Josh do that. He walked from side to side, looking at every ball, seeing what every possible shot is, and he eventually settles in on this one. So this is another rolling ball. So if he can just roll this ball in, hopefully I don't get hooked behind the 14, and I might be able to see the 5 ball. But he's also got to make the ball.
Gotta make it.
Okay. But still, that was what did we do there? That was a 3-ball run, right? Because you made your shot, then I made my combo. That was a 3-ball run. So now we might be in a little bit of trouble here. Okay, 14 ball goes down to the side. You can see she looks like she's just a rolling ball player as well, and just relies on her partner to get her out of trouble. So it would appear that we're both playing the same strategies. All right, that doesn't look like a lineup for a combo. That looks like a lineup for a carom. Is he going to carom the 9 off of the 13 into the side pocket? Oh, the 13 ball was too close to the side pocket, so the 9 ball ends up catching the point. which ties up our 3-ball, which sucks. And someone's moving the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another thing that I also have to consider when I'm playing Scotch doubles is, again, if I'm by myself, I'm more than likely going to aggressively attack the table by probably shooting in the 1 or shooting in the 7. I don't remember if we're going to see it on this particular shot, but you're going to see me do some really odd things, and that's because I'm taking big gambles on getting back to the table and setting the table up for the future. Just like, just playing chess, waiting for the moment to be able to attack the table. Because right now, I don't think that 3-ball is even makeable unless we get the cue ball like somewhere like right over here, so we can do a thin cut or maybe even a bank. But you can see how much thought I'm putting into this. And again, I don't remember if do I play this 1 ball? I don't think I do. Because I know there was a couple of times, even during our qualifying match, and I think during Vegas, where like he'll set me up for a shot, and I'm pretty sure you were expecting me to make a shot, but then I ended up playing some sort of a defensive shot. And when I come sit down, I explain to him why, and then he understands why I did what I did. Do I go for this? All right, so I went ahead and went for it. So I know there's going to be a point in time where you're going to see me do something really odd, or at least I think you might consider it to be odd. What is Josh going to do here? It's kind of a rough spot to be in. So you can see he's going to try to settle in on the 3-ball. I'm just not entirely sure that I would recommend that, considering that it blocks the ball. Because now the ball is freed open. So now the opponents have an open combination. So it's hard to tell, like, let's look at this. Because it's hard to tell, especially with the position that I left him in. Like, what are his options? Because we don't want to leave a shot at that 9-ball to go into the side pocket, because they can use the 9-ball to try to break out their ball. Right? That should be pretty plain and clear. So it's hard to tell whether or not if Josh would have been able to get away with just like nipping the 5-ball into the rail and having the cue ball come closer to this corner pocket without scratching. I also don't know, because considering that he'd be bridging over the 5-ball, do you remember if you could have clipped the 7 and tried to
I don't remember, but in retrospect, watching it back, that's the first thing I saw was, oh, could I have bridged over that 5, clipped that 7, and tried to get the cue ball to stick on the rail over
like
here.
Somewhere over here, because there's no combo to be played. So just putting the cue ball in a position where they can't directly make a ball would be a good safety. All right, so I would clearly think that they're going to take the combo on from here. Well, judging from that gesture, that's a definite positive there. See a combination shot. Should watch the 13-ball kind of just roll towards the middle of the table. There's the setup shot as well. Let's have a look at this. Loping CSF, you're saying on my last shot, you thought I would push the 7 to the rail and leave them hooked behind the 1. Let's have a look. You got me. Like when you look at stuff in retrospect, yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, because I'd be curious since I shot the 1, what was I really trying to do? I don't think I'm trying to get position for the 3 ball. I think I was trying to get position for the 5, or to at least expect Josh to play some sort of safety afterwards as well. But no, you're absolutely right. I could have just rolled up onto the 7 ball and pushed it towards the rail, towards the 5 ball, and then make sure that the cue ball at least stays somewhat hidden behind the 1 ball, and I would have been golden. Like, yeah, that's something I clearly could have done as well. We're about right here. This should be a real pretty shot. I don't know if they're going to try to get short side position on the 8 to go on the side, or come around to shoot the 8 in the opposite corner. Well, that would have been fortunate. You got on that short side to shoot backup table. Now, this is where I would say that we are kind of fortunate, because Josh at least knows the strategies that I would want to play here. And that is trying to decide, are we going to attack the table? Or are we just going to put balls closer to pockets, knowing that their ball is sitting at the end rail, right? Like, I could safely try to just either cut the 7 ball and maneuver the cue ball up table, or I can safely just roll the 3 ball towards the pocket and miss on purpose, just to make sure we can try to set things up to where we don't have to like really control the cue ball in order to play, and keep the cue ball protected at the same time. But I do think I've tried to play this 3 ball. All right, just bobble the pocket. As you can see, he's straight in on the 7, or he's straight in on the 5, one or the other. But now it looks like we've got a timeout. What would y'all do in this position if you're them? I'd be real curious about this, because I don't see a way for them to attack the table without getting lucky. And with our 3 ball now being a little bit closer to the pocket, it makes it difficult to play some sort of safety. But she at least banks the ball out, which was really good. That was really good, all things considered. Go 44, you would have bumped the stripe and put the cue ball behind the 8. That would work as long as I still couldn't see the 7 or the 5. What are you thinking here, Josh? Are you going to play the combo?
I'm thinking, how can I get it in the side pocket or a combo? And this is where he takes time out.
Oh, that's right. This is the safety I tried to get you to play.
And his first question, every time he comes up to do a timeout, is, what are you thinking? I got other people that are captains on other teams I have. They immediately come up and it's, do this. He always asks, what are you thinking? Because he wants to know what's in your head.
Yep.
And then he gives you options.
Because I'll give them the pros and cons of what I believe will happen if they attempt to do what they're thinking. And then I'll give them what I would like them to do, and the pros and cons of what could happen if they attempt to do what I would like them to do. But once I walk away from the table, they're free to choose whatever option that they come up with. Because now at least I have given them another option, when more times than not, they're just stuck on one option. And as long as they know other options, they can decide which one they want to try to use. So the idea here was to just clip the softly clip the 5 and put the cue ball on the rail, and not have it leak out the way that it did. The cue ball should at least still be somewhere like right here. That's what we were trying to do. So what's really funny is that, as soft as I would have Josh shoot, I think you would agree that it's harder to shoot softer than that, yeah. Right? Right? It's real easy to shoot hard, right? Just swing the darn cue and just hope for the best. Look at this great bank shot by our opponents there. You can see me doing the natural snaps to acknowledge a good shot there.
These tables were fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, really fast tables. But yeah, it's so much. It's so easy to shoot hard. It is, in my opinion, more difficult to shoot soft. And then when I need you to shoot softer, that's harder to do. All right, so our opponents take the first game. And I didn't even realize that I didn't even keep track of the innings. I have no idea what inning we're on. I'm gonna guess that. Okay, so let's try not to have operator error again. All right, there we go. I did it. All right, so I'm willing to bet our opponents here. He wants to do a head-on break, and you can see he's not getting it. He's cutting that rack. So doing so causes you to lose the cue ball a little bit. You would have to definitely venture that what happens after the break is some form of luck, rather than actually controlling the cue ball to land in a specific area. But we do come up dry. This is the joys of having a long beard now. This is what I can do now when I come to the table and ponder what I'm going to do. I was reading a question, so I didn't even see what because Goba 44, I can totally relate. Being a 7, you get frustrated at APA Scotch Doubles because the 4 usually has an attitude. When you do a chess move, he says, why didn't you just shoot the ball over the pocket? Totally understand where you're coming from, because typically a lower skill level player isn't thinking to the depth of what a higher skill level player thinks about. There has been rare occasions, though, because it's not like I'm going to sit there and just try to trash lower ranking players. That's not what the intent here, because there has been occasions where sometimes a lower skill player will actually say something that makes me go, oh, didn't even see that. Right? So it does happen from time to time. Okay, good try on the 6. You can see how softly he's shooting, right? The ball is closer to the pocket. That's the whole intention of shooting softer. Get the ball closer to the pocket. If it falls, great, we continue shooting. If not, hopefully it's now blocking the pocket, and we can shoot at that ball whenever we want. Now we can and start working on the other balls that are around the table. That will definitely be an inning every time we miss. The opponent tries to take the 10 ball into the corner, ends up undercutting the ball. Someone's stealing our bridge. Pretty sure there's a bridge on their table. What's up with that? Okay, so since Josh shot 6, then that definitely means we're solids. So, what's in my head is this guy right here. The heck did I get positioned for? The 2? I said, I'm a lot of these shots I'm not going to remember what in the world I was thinking. I've slept since then. Okay, so it must have been the 2. See Josh there doing the basic ghost ball reference to try to see the center of the ghost ball and then line up behind the ghost ball. Matter of fact, Josh, explain this. Like, what did I show you about how to do this?
Well, what I was doing at this point was I was getting my cue as close to the ball as possible, the object ball. And I had measured my ferrule and realized that from tip to the end of the ferrule was exactly the middle of the cue ball. So what I was trying to do is lay my cue behind it, get as close as I could, and then shoot at where I thought the mark was. that's why you'll see the overcuts and undercuts that I do. Since then, there was one night Chris was doing a review for me, and I was actually on the call with him, and I told him that, and he said, "Oh, stop doing that. Stop doing that." And so I have adjusted, and sure enough, I've gotten better at seeing where the ghost ball reference is and everything else. But yeah, at that time, that's what I was doing.
Yeah, the stop doing that meant that, like, I have no issues with him putting the tip of his cue like next to the contact spot. But I would, not knowing whether or not if he is consistently putting the tip of his cue at the same like closeness every time to know that the bottom of his faro is supposed to represent the center of the ghost ball. To me, that misses the mark on accuracy. And what I'm about to say also misses the mark on accuracy. I just think you have a better chance of being more accurate doing it this way. And that is when you have an idea of where the contact spot is, then you know that a ball is 2 1/4, and half of 2 1/4 is 1 1/8. So when you mark your contact spot, you try to pull the tip of your cue back about 1 1/8 inch away, which would indicate the center of the cue ball. Because that way, at least from that position, if you chose to, you can also leave the tip of your cue on the table and then pivot the butt of your cue over the cue ball to give you your aim line. So hopefully all you have to do is just pick up your cue, step back, come back into and you're already lined up. Whereas if Josh leaves the tip of his cue where it's at and pivots from the contact spot, you're not going to get the same aiming line. I think in that instance, you'd end up undercutting every shot if you tried to do something like that. So that was one of the things that we started doing a little bit differently as time went by. And I'm already I don't even know if I'm going to keep track of these innings. Ooh, I see people are giving us some hearts. I really appreciate that, everybody.
Yeah, and I've always wanted to say this. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up.
Give the stream a thumbs up. Doesn't matter if you're on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, though, please consider sharing this stream to your Facebook profile so your friends and family can get to know us and see how terrible we play together. I'm just kidding. But hopefully it allows them to get interested in playing pool. That's one of the main reasons why I do this, is try to help grow the sport in any way that I can. Then, of course, maybe share it to your favorite pool groups as well. And then, of course, liking the stream on YouTube helps me out in the YouTube algorithm, so that way more people can discover the live stream, hopefully now while we're live streaming, or at least maybe after the fact, and watch it after the fact.
Yeah, because I want to come back and play with the ICA training system.
We talked about that. I had that on a live stream. He was the one talking about he wants to shoot on the table, and y'all, and those that remember that live stream were interested in seeing how a 7 would play using the ICA training system versus how a 4 would play using the ICA training system. So I think that's something we can look forward to in the future. I don't even know what's going on. I'm just blabbing too much. So let's see. Gloria Jean, how you doing? Nice to see you here. Hail Shelter, I see you're asking. I still have to talk about that. I know what this is. What am I doing here? Besides missing. Whack! What the heck could I have been trying to do? Does anybody have any idea? Because I honestly don't. I would have to guess, because look at our 4-ball. And you know, if I look at this in retrospect, there's no way I'm breaking out our 4-ball. If I wanted to break out our 4-ball, I probably should have done it with the 5-ball. Why did I shoot the 1 the way that I did? What the heck was I trying to do? Right, I flare the cue ball 3 rails. I hit that hard. You're hardly ever going to see me shoot a shot that hard. And I made the 4-ball worse than what it was. So I honestly don't know what I was trying to do with that. Oh, holy crap. Goba44, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. It says, always fun watching the match reviews. I really do appreciate that, bud. Thank you so much. Exactly. There we go. I like what you said, Goba. This was a chess move, right? I've got something we're going to do later on. All right, let's see here. well, that was a miss, so I'll at least do this. It's a miss by us, so I think we're on 11 innings. Ooh, the classic split shot where the cue ball and the object ball fall at the same time. Oh, I do remember what's going to happen during this match, though. All right, so clearly our 4-ball's in trouble. But what are you thinking about at this time?
Normally, he tells me to go for the ball that's the hardest to get position on that you can make. However, I know he's behind me. So in this, I'm just trying to make a ball, and in my head, I'm putting it on him. He's going to figure it out.
Right?
I just wanted to make a ball and just let him figure it out from there.
Exactly.
Because what he did on that last shot, I had no clue what he was trying to do. So I said, he's got that big brain mentality going on right now. So I'm just going to make a ball.
But see, look at what I'm doing. Like, I'm instantly looking at that 4-ball.
Whereas I'm thinking, hey, I got in position on the 1.
What's the Scotch Doubles mantra? Hey, I made mine. Why does that lady keep stealing our bridge? So you can see here, like, there are some obvious choices I can make. I can shoot the 1, I can shoot the 6, I can even, shoot the 4 if I want to. Like, all 4 of our balls can be hit. But literally, what is going to happen next? Like, what are we going to, even if I make a ball, how are we going to finish the table? I don't see that happening, which is why I end up doing what I do here. All right, all I did was put the 2-ball in a better position than what it was.
And now he's telling me what he's thinking.
As you can see, with the position that the 2-ball's in now, we can possibly shoot it past their stripe or like through their stripe would be the idea. But really, we wouldn't even want to do that. What we would want to do is to, oh, holy crap, what a shot. Wow. What we would want to do is make their ball and put our 2-ball next to that pocket and leave it there. So that way we can shoot the 2-ball and free up the 4-ball. That's the long-term thinking. But of course, it's a giant gamble because we have to hope that we get back to the table. There's going to be one strategy move I remember during this rack that I did here. Oh, and it's coming up. And I almost got up to shoot. And this is going to be interesting. I don't think we're going to see it tonight, but apparently, I think was it 2 matches or maybe 1 match, our teammates shot out of order, and apparently that's supposed to be a foul when that does happen. But we didn't catch it, so we're hopefully going to see it the next time we review those matches. But I don't think it didn't happen during this match.
No, it wasn't these. And it wasn't 2 we're watching.
It didn't even happen in the next match. But look at Josh here. He makes both our ball and their ball. Like I said, I don't think we really wanted to make our ball, though. Because hopefully y'all can see what I'm talking about, to where if the 2-ball is still there, now we can use the 2-ball to break out the 4. And we've got the 6 sitting next to a side pocket. We got the 1 sitting into a corner pocket. It puts us in a powerful position, which is the reason why you're going to see me do what I do here. Everybody might be thinking, wait a minute, aren't y'all solids? Well, look what I did. I took their only stripe that they had access to and removed it from the table, because look what they have now. I'm betting what is the likelihood that they're going to play a good enough safety that we're not going to have a shot at the 6, we might not have a shot at the 1, or they're going to free up our 4-ball. That's why I did what I did, because I clearly could have shot something, but I didn't. All right, so now we're kind of in the same game here, to where it's like, do we want to try to attack the table here, or do we want to, just safely shoot the 6 and then let them try to figure out what the hell they're going to do with the their 11 ball. Not sure yet. Everybody loved this little antic that I was doing, which was this. They thought I was praying. And what I actually have is my cue stick is in between my thumb and my index finger. And I'm just like rocking it back and forth between my thumb and my index finger. And everybody said it looked like I was praying.
And they were playing 80s music and he was singing along.
Oh, yeah. I was having a good time. All right. So Josh made the 6. I figured this was a good time to go ahead and play this combination here. I didn't really like that the 4 ball like tucked itself into the pocket like that. Oh, we did a timeout during this?
Mm-hmm.
What did I have you do then? Because it couldn't have been what you attempted, or what happened, I should say.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was you were trying to get me to do.
Was it just a stop shot? Maybe.
I think so.
Since it was so that had to have been what it was. That had to have been what it was. It must have been just a stop shot. And since you didn't hit the ball straight, you accidentally cut the ball, and then we ended up getting the result that we got.
And then the whole time I'm walking back in my head, I'm going, well, our team name is Bank the 8. So
hey, Josh made his ball, right? That's all that matters, right? I'm the 7. I'm supposed to bank this 8 like there's no tomorrow. Just kidding. The 8 ball ended up double kissing the cue ball on the way back.
And the pocket marker we're using, in case anybody wants to know, is my pocket marker, and it's a little Bob Ross.
The bobblehead.
Happy little pocket for the ball to go
exactly.
into.
Happy little trees and waterfalls every time we shoot the 8 ball. Now look at that. That was a great shot. I mean, even flared the cue ball around the table like that. You typically would not see something like that from a 4 that just became a 5. Or supposedly just became a 5. Let me just put that out there. So not looking good for us so far. Opponent just has to roll this ball in. Should be no fear in scratching. See, cue ball just rolls up table. 2-0. Okay, so she's got more of an angled break here, and that was a good head-on break. The head-on break from the approach angle, like it looked like she hit the cue ball straight into the head ball from that approach angle. Just didn't make a ball, which happens from time to time. Goba 44, you're saying Josh should have hit the ball, the side of the ball softly. Trust me, I would have thought of that. It's just that the ball was too deep in the pocket, right? So if you'd have just hit, just tap the ball, like the likelihood of the cue ball hitting the point of the pocket was relatively high, and we're just unsure of what was supposed to happen. So he has the angle to where he can hit the ball straight in the face, and it was supposed to be just a stop shot. But since he cut it, he's looking at the shot, he's thinking that he's aiming at it head on, but when he hits the shot and we see the cue ball's reaction, clearly he's not aiming at it head on, and that's why we ended up where we ended up. All right, so Josh claims solids for us. Not much I have here except to try to go for a 2-1 combination. I'd very much would either like to make the ball, obviously, or block the pocket if I can. Oh, never mind. I did a 2-1 billiard. So actually, let's talk about that. I want to give a shout out to, oops. I want to give a shout out to the Just the Tips YouTube channel because I learned this trick from them. What I'm doing here is I'm lining up a combo from the 2 to the 1. And what you have is, now that you see that I'm bridged over the 2 like this, my cue creates the line to where there's an entry point into the 2 ball, which creates the combo, but then that line has an exit point from the 2 ball. And what I end up doing with my cue ball is I aim where that exit point is at. Because with a rolling cue ball slightly above center hit, that's at least what's hopefully going to allow the cue ball to billiard towards the object ball that I want to hit, which is going to be the 1 ball. And so that's how I end up aiming billiard shots when I'm using some form of topspin. Line up the first ball that you're going to hit as a combo, and then visualize the entry point of the combo line plus the exit point, and then aim your cue ball at the exit point on the object ball with a little bit of topspin. Now, granted, there's a lot of distance that my cue ball has to travel here. So, speed is obviously going to be a factor. How soon is the cue ball going to take off the tangent line? And you can see, like, if I'd have gotten the cue ball to either, spin up a little bit quicker to go up the tangent line faster, because I ended up, I ended up undercutting the ball and cutting the 1 ball into the short rail. So if I'd have gotten the cue ball to go up the tangent line quicker, then I would have possibly made the shot. Okay, good shot by the opponent there. A wall of stripes to play with. But I would venture to say that we're coming back up table. Oh, she at least glances at that ball. That would be a good ball to shoot at, because then you break up the what appears to be the 9 and the 11, and she's going for it. Oh, that was unfortunate. Fortunate for us, though. All right, Josh, what are we doing here?
I don't remember. I'll tell you in a minute.
But as you can see, he's doing the same routine, observing every ball on the table. And what we always talked about is, when you have ball in hand, what is the hardest ball that you can shoot at to play, that would be the most difficult to play position on. And since you have ball in hand, you can put yourself in that position. And typically you'd sit there and say, well, the hardest ball to deal with on the table are balls that are in clusters, right? So it's not like you want to waste your ball in hand to shoot at a cluster, but if you could, you would hopefully be able to shoot at a ball into a pocket and break the cluster out at the same time. That's another thing that you'd want to do with your ball in hand. All right, so Josh makes his ball. I've got set up for the 7 or the 2. Curious of what we're going to do with our 3 ball. Am I going to shoot the 2 and try to break the 3 ball out? Well, I broke the 8 apart. I did that. And you can see the 7 ball becomes a backup shot. Insurance shots. Always good to have insurance shots, especially if you're going to break into clusters. Because just in case you break into the cluster and you don't get a shot at the ball that you wanted to get out of the cluster, you hopefully have another ball that you can shoot at.
Yeah, let's not watch this next shot.
Whee! Whee! A slight miscue, so we get a little hop, overcut the 7 ball, and then billiard off of the 5 ball for the scratch. Whoops. Let's see here. So what's the hardest ball on the table for our opponents here? It looks like it's the 13 ball. This ball right here. Yep. And it looks like he's forced to play a combo. So this is good. This is good. I certainly don't have an issue with this. If you make this shot, the table is solved, and then you just have to hope that each you and your teammate are able to carry things through. Right? Because now you shoot the two stripes that are right here, and then come back down table to deal with these 4 balls right here. Loping CSF says that was a skill shot. Now, personally, I don't agree with this. I would have to wonder if the 11 ball is actually blocked by our 1 ball, and maybe that's why she elected to do what she did. And then you can see me smirking there because this is kind of a lucky leave. Oh, looks like I have to try to back cut the 3 ball into the corner. So watch the cue ball go over to the side rail underneath the 12 and then start rolling towards the middle of the table. Oh, it ran into the 12. Oh, and I made the shot. I don't remember making that shot. That was a good shot. So this is good. We've got the 7. The 7 automatically leads me to the 1. Actually, here's another interesting aspect of playing Scotch doubles. So Josh is going to either shoot the 7 or shoot the 5. Those are his only options. But it clearly looks like he's going to shoot the 7, which means I come up next. And I have to really decide, what am I going to do? Well, when he shoots the 7, clearly I'm going to want to shoot at the 1 ball. But that means I need Josh to move from the 5 to the 8. So I have to make sure I put that cue ball in a position that hopefully he can roll the cue ball from the 5 to the 8 and not try to control it. That's something that's always on my mind. Oh, oh no, I do remember what happens here. So you did go for the 5, didn't you? Because we used the 7 as the setup shot. Spoiler alert. Okay, good shot there. Little poke stroke. See what I mean here? Look at this. I can instantly shoot that. Like, if it were me, I would shoot the 7, and then I can maneuver the cue ball from the 1 to the 8. I could do that. But do I want Josh to do that? I mean, I could let him try. But what would be more to our advantage? And that would be, in my opinion, would be to get some sort of position on the 7 to where he can hopefully shoot the 7 in like this. 7 goes in, the cue ball just rolls down like this and automatically gets me position on the 8. That's what I'm going to be trying for when I shoot the 1 ball. Yeah, I shoot it so soft, but see, you can see me. Stop, but not soft enough. So here I think I say I take a timeout, and you're going to see one of the things that I always do, and you hear me talk about it all the time. Like, because does he need to flare this cue ball? No, in my opinion, because what am I going to go do? I know where that cue ball is going to go if he rolls it. So here I am looking to see what my next shot is going to look like. And I need to make sure that that 9 ball is not in the way. So Jesse Holman, you're asking how we're going to get on the 8? This is how. All he has to do is just roll that 7 ball in. I'm going to take a thin cut shot on the 8.
And that's what he's telling me. He's telling me I can do this. You just have to do this.
When in reality, what you probably would want to try to do, maybe, cut the 7-ball in, stun your cue ball out to here with some right spin, and then flare it back like this. That would probably be the creative way of getting position. This is more of a natural position, but the natural position also leaves you a harder shot, whereas the harder shot can leave you an easier position. So you kind of have to pick your battles there on which ones that you want to do.
I think the one thing he told me on that shot was don't leave him on the rail.
Yeah. What do y'all think of the design on our shirts? I came up with that design. The little piggy bank with the 8-ball on it. And there's a cue stick going through it as well. Now, can I cut this 8-ball? Pressure's on me now. We've seen Josh shoot at the 8-ball a couple times, and I had that one bank shot that I messed up. And I made it. Look at that. We're on the board. 2-1. So Josh gets to break.
And I hadn't started doing the second ball break yet.
Nope. Doing a head-on break from this angle. Whack. All right, really good spread, but just don't make a ball. All right, so the only thing you can do with that is you have to break harder, right, to increase the chances of the balls moving farther. But every time you break harder, you lose accuracy. You have less control, unless of course you break harder thousands and thousands of times and try to regain control. I seriously don't even know what inning we're on now. I've completely lost track of that. I'll try to do better on the next match. Let's see. Opponent's looking around, looking at everything. I think solids and stripes are about even as far as level of difficulty. Like for solids, the 5-ball's in trouble. Don't even know what happened, but apparently he missed. And then for stripes, the 10-ball would be in trouble. Other than that, everything else looks pretty good. Let's see. So open table. So I do my thing where I come up and I look at all 15 balls on the table and try to figure out what set do we want to try to choose. As you can see, our opponents tried to claim solids, but I'm not entirely sure I like solids, but I might not have a choice now. Because I don't like that 5-ball.
Yeah, that's the look of I don't want to do this, but I'm going to do this.
Yep, so shoot the 2. Okay, middle of the table, you got position on everything. Take your pick. Star-Lord, INOG, we did not make it to Vegas this year for teams. We just had some mishaps, and then during cities, Josh went up to a 5. Unbeknownst to us, and that him going up to a 5 kind of screwed up our roster a bit, and we ended up losing in the semifinals. Considering the condition that we actually had to play under, I was still very proud of us going as far as we did, because I was only able to play like in one match, I think. I only played one time, I think. Was 1 or 2, maybe? Yeah.
2, because he actually played up against like a skill level 6 or 7, I think the first night or the second.
I think you're right.
And then and then we had the match where the team was already going to have to forfeit one. So we had to put you up against the 3.
Yeah.
And you could not give up a single rack.
Yep.
And he did it. And it was impressive.
Yeah, because during that match, our opponents let us know that they had to play a forfeit. And so because of the way the scores were going up, I was like, well, I can try to go up and try to end it, but that means we have to play a forfeit as well. But so that means whoever wins this match wins this match. The problem is that they only had to win 2 and only needed a point. So if she wins a rack, or if my opponent was a female, if my opponent wins a rack, they win. And I had to prevent her from winning a rack. And there was 4 times that she actually could have won. Like literally 4 times. Even to the point to where she tried to bank the 8 and the 8 ball bobbled in the pocket. And that was like one of my saving grace shots. But I was able to take that match down and move us on into the next round. Let's see. R Star, you're asking what's my Fargo. Let me see if I remember if this works. You type in exclamation point skill level. There we go. There's all my skill levels, including my Fargo. Okay, what the heck's been happening on the match? Every time we start talking, I lose my place. Apparently I missed. Or somebody missed. Yes, please move that 14 ball. Thank you. Right, all the while, I would have to wonder if they have in their mind, they're about to run out. Because otherwise, why do that? Right? Why open up a pocket that is blocking your opponent's ball? That's actually a good question. Colo Jarrell Freeman, he wants to know, do we use the same weight? What weight do you shoot? I shoot with 19.5 ounces. What do you shoot with?
I have no idea.
I guess we could find that out later, because I do have a weight scale. Like next time, bring your cues. Or do you have them in your...
They're in the car.
Okay. Nice
yeah, my wife bought
there.
it for me for Christmas, so I don't know what it is. I'm trying to win one of his giveaways, but y'all keep preventing that by winning them.
Well, have you submitted? You haven't submitted a climb down the tree video yet,
No,
have you?
I haven't. I've tried it and get nowhere with it.
Whoops! I don't think they wanted to do it. So hopefully you see what I'm talking about here, right? I talk about this all the time. Like this is all well and good that the opponents are trading shots back and forth. They're making balls, but look at the end pattern. Look how it's turning out, right? All from starting on freeing up our 5 ball to have a path to a pocket, right? So like if they don't finish, then we should have the advantage in hopefully trying to finish. Should. But missing that shot is actually to their favor, especially now that all 3 of their stripes are surrounding the 8 ball. All right, so that makes it difficult on us. I'm going to butcher this name, so I do apologize. Ramanuj Basu, you're asking what cues are both of us using? At the time, I was still using my Predator cues, but I'm now sponsored by JFlowers, so I shoot with JFlower cues. But at the time here, I'm breaking with a BK Rush, and I'm playing with a Predator Black 4-5. What cues were you using it?
I don't know. My break cue is a cue text. I do know that. I got it from somebody who passed away. Their wife gave me their old
but
cue.
We don't know what brand this cue is.
But I don't know what my shooting cue is. My wife bought it for me. So.
Okay, good shot on the 4. All right, look at this. So like, I'm obviously going to come to the table like, we ain't running this, right? So why should I bother making a ball? So if you're wanting to know like what I'm shooting with now, you either have exclamation point, I think it's playing cues. This is what I play with outside. And then you have exclamation point home cues. This is what I play with on YouTube. All right, so I end up doing a safety, right? We can't run the table. Let me take a gamble and have them break up the cluster and try to hopefully put us in a position where we can hopefully control the table and run the table. So usually when I can, you'll always see me look over at Josh and I'm kind of whispering to him about the strategies and stuff. And, you know, whether or not if you think you can make a ball, go ahead and make a ball. Otherwise play safe or do whatever. So you can see he's lining up the one ball. Ugh, overcut. But the ball's closer to the pocket. That's always a positive thing. Hector, no. My old cues are not for sale. I've said that 1,000 times now, bud. You have an Icon 4.5. You don't need another one.
I've tried. He's not giving it up.
Oh, Star-Lord, you're asking what's next outside of APA. I do have the Texas State Open coming up on Labor Day weekend. I try to play in that every year, so I will be doing that. I am going to be starting to play Double Jeopardy APA starting in August. So hopefully you're going to start seeing me play some 9-ball matches here soon. And there is a Fargo-rated 9-ball league at Skinny Bob's in Round Rock, which is where the Texas Open is being held at, that I'm actually looking at joining as well. Either I'm going to try to build a team or I'm just going to join a team. And that's played on 9-foot tables. So hopefully I'll be able to have that kind of content as well. All right, so I made the 7-ball. We have position on the 1. I seriously don't think I would have Josh play the combo. He can make the 1, get me position on the 3, and I can flare the cue ball to get position on the 5. Okay, good approach there. I like the way you approach the ball. What do we think? This is always the hardest thing for me to teach everybody. Did he hit it too hard? Or did he not hit it hard enough? When you think about where that cue ball went with as soft as Josh is currently shooting, what do you think he should have done? Hit it softer or hit it harder? What do you think?
Me, I think I should have hit it softer.
Nope.
But I can see that hitting it harder, bring it over. Yeah.
Yep. Hit it a little bit harder. Get it closer to that other rail, and let me shoot the 3 ball into the same corner pocket. That's a very difficult thing to teach. When you already know how soft you're shooting, and you realize how soft you're shooting is over rolling the position that you typically would have wanted, and you'd say to yourself, "Oh man, maybe I should have just shot that softer." It's like, no, let it keep going and get on the other side. That would be the better choice. I think it's kind of hilarious. You see the lower skill level player on the opposing team does ghost ball referencing as well, just like my partner does. But then you don't see me or the other gentleman doing that. We just get up and shoot. Is this a shot that you're supposed to take on, though? Right? What benefit would that have done had she made it? Other than getting position on the 9.
She made sure her shot and her partner figure it out.
Right? I think I remember this. Timeout's about to happen. R. Rossi, you're asking what tip I play on. My home cue that I play with has a Taom Fusion tip on it, but my playing cue has a Taom Pro soft tip on it. A good picture right there, just seeing our shirts like that.
Yeah.
Is this where did I go ahead and try to tell you to draw the cue ball back on this one? Because clearly, like these are always the hard spots here, right? Clearly, he cannot roll this ball, or he can obviously roll the ball in, but then what am I going to have to shoot at? Right? I'm gonna have to kick at our last ball. Right? So there's always trying to find those spots where it's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and try to get you to control the cue ball a little bit. Let's see if you can actually draw the cue ball back a little bit.
So now remember, earlier in the match, I tried to hit bottom, and that's when I hit the 7, hit off the 5, and scratched.
And miscued.
So, which I have a tendency to do when I hit bottom. So
I might have a solution for that. It's something I've actually been working on here lately. All right, so here we go. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm trying to have him, because if you saw, I did something like this, where I was like, just put the tip of your cue just a little bit below center, so that way we don't have to worry about miscuing. And you have to hit it with this shot. There's distance. You're not putting a whole lot of bottom spin. And you can see he got a stop shot out of it, which is better than a miscue. Right? All he has to care about is he can just walk back to the chair and say, hey, I made mine. I am going to try to fast forward this, though. I think music is playing. I'm just having a good time. There we go. Exactly, Hector. I'm the 7. I just figure it out. Oh, this isn't the rack, is it? Oh, jeez. Oh, what was that all about? I hope I didn't lose internet. Please let me know if y'all can still hear us, or if the stream is still going. I think my house just had a brownout. Okay, cool. Thank you. So even with the stop shot, I was able to make the 7 ball. But Josh doesn't want to see this part.
I've had to relive this 3 times today. Because he sent me the matches so I could watch them ahead of time, so I could kind of get a little bit of a refresher.
I distinctly remember sitting in my chair and be like, oh no. Come on, what am I talking about, folks? Does anybody see what I'm talking about? Actually, you know what? I think my alerts should work here? Where? Oh, never mind. I thought they were supposed to work. They don't. I still can't highlight chats. Sorry. But womp womp womp. What could we have done there though? That's always the question, right? Personally, I think the scratch is inevitable. Even because what you ended up overcutting the ball, and then you also had a billiard off the stripe, which pretty much created the scratch. Billiarding off the stripe is what created the scratch. So I'd be curious to know that if that stripe wasn't there, would you have scratched even though you overcut the ball? So my concern is that even if you were to make the ball, I would venture to say that you would still scratch. So the only thing I would suggest is to go ahead and hit it like almost full and try to see if it'll carom off of the ball. Because you already know that the ball's going to split apart. Right. You know the 8-ball is at least going to go towards the corner pocket. And what we would want to see is that the stripe would hit the short rail, long rail, and then come back up table. And we're trying to leave our cue ball somewhere down here and then have the 8-ball drift towards the corner pocket. That would have been, in my opinion, the safer shot to take. Not suggesting that you might have made it, but you'd at least would have edged the 8-ball closer to the pocket, and the scratch would have been prevented.
And I think had we not already used our timeout, he would have been up there to tell me all that.
Yep.
But he had to watch in agony.
All right, I'm going to see if I can fix. I'm going to go ahead and let this part play out while I try to fix the alerts, if I can. Let's see if I can do this. Aha! That was easy. We can highlight chats again. All right, so our opponents are on the hill. Hey, look who's here. Here's one of our locals. What's going on, Ben? And then Rick Sexton, look at the scoreboard. This is a race to 4, and we're currently down 3-1. So we are struggling. Okay, I don't even know what happened. What did happen? The opponent's broke, and the teammate is up, so they must have made a ball on the break. And they're looking at stripes, so we must be solids. Combo! Or, I don't know what the heck that was. Yep, I do. I was able to fix it on the fly, Nate. So I can highlight chats again. Oh, holy crap. There's 100 of y'all in here. Thank you so much for being, or at least there's 100 on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. I have no idea how many are on Facebook because it's not showing me if anybody's there. Actually, we do see a couple of chats in the Facebook, so thanks everybody for watching on Facebook as well. Please give the stream a thumbs up. We really would appreciate it. What the heck did I just do? Looks like I made a solid. And then, of course, what's this all about? That looks like our 6-ball tucked away. Josh is sizing up for the 1-ball. We probably should hopefully see that if he just rolls this ball in, the cue ball hits the rail and then goes this way. See? And that's always helpful to know. So when he's playing for himself, and if he knows that this is probably going to be the next ball he's going to shoot at. That's the whole purpose of hitting softly and just rolling the cue ball around to see where it naturally goes all by itself. Then as you get better and you learn how to control the cue ball, the cue ball still has to go in its natural direction. You just have to control the natural direction by drawing the cue ball below the tangent line with bottom spin, going above the tangent line with top spin, and then if you hit a rail, instead of taking the natural outbound angle from the angle that's coming in, you manipulate it with left or right spin. But if you don't know where it's going all by itself, and if you don't know the natural outbound angle from the inbound angle, then you're not going to have a clue where it's going to go if you try to control the cue ball, which is why I always advise against that. As you're learning, as I three rail that ball in. What was I upset about? Did I look disappointed?
Yeah. I think you wanted to bring the four back in this. Wanted me to bring the four back in this corner.
Oh, yep. Okay, since I pointed right here, so that way you can shoot the four over here. And the reason for that is because if he rolls this ball into the side pocket, that's what many of y'all might be thinking. Like, well, he can shoot the four on the side, but if he rolls it in, then I might not have position on the three ball. But if he's at least shooting this way and the cue ball rolls up to the rail like this, there's this window that I have to still have access to the three ball. Whereas right now he's crossing the shot line of the three ball, so I'm not entirely sure if I'll be able to shoot at it. So Billiard Fun 78, there is no talking to the teammate while they're shooting unless we take a timeout, and each team is allotted one timeout per rack. But while we're sitting down together and it's not our turn, we can talk all we want. Actually, I really like this, Nate. Pro pool allows teammates to speak during their turn, and amateur pool doesn't. That sounds strangely backwards. I could not agree more with that. When you watch the World Cup of pool and you watch the doubles tournaments there, you see them constantly talking to each other. And in an amateur pool, we can't do that. I could not agree more with you on that one.
Yeah, I think that's really weird myself.
All right, so teams are doing or opposing teams doing an okay job here, pocketing some balls. Tried to go for a combination there. All the while, look at that. Look at our 6 ball, or our 6 ball, and I think that's our opponent's 9 ball. And now I'm looking at it. I'm just gonna punt or push the ball to the rail. Yep. That way the ball can be shot at later. I seriously thought he touched the cue ball when he did that. Oh, but what a shot. Hector, APA does have shot clocks. Both of us right now are playing at a pace that isn't that really doesn't necessarily warrant warnings as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what the numbers are off the top of my head, but it has something to do with on regular shots you should approximately take about 30 seconds to shoot. On harder shots you can take up to about 45 seconds to shoot. Once you if you exceed those times, it's not a foul. It's just that when you start exceeding those times multiple times, then that's when you can complain to a ref for slow play, and then it gets to a point where a ref will come and start watching our match with a stopwatch to clock us if we are taking too long. Now, timeouts are only supposed to last up to a minute. You can exceed those time. You can exceed that minute, but not by too much. And of course, if you continuously do it over and over and over, then you probably get an unsportsmanlike conduct or unsportsmanlike foul. Look at that great safety that he didn't intend to do. Notice how the amount of people that were around the table is getting smaller and smaller. Even the people in the background. Like I did not realize we took this long on this first match. Little lucky kick there, though. But this at least puts us in a position where we should be able to attack the table. It's a question of how. So especially now when you look at the order, since there's 5 balls left on the table, that means I'm going to be shooting at the 8 ball. So I hopefully start us off with a pattern to where we don't have to do anything. So if I make this 4 ball, all Josh has to do is roll the 6 ball in, and I'm going to automatically have position on the 3 or the 5. I would probably think that I would take the 3 ball, because then if I give some sort of a cut angle on the 5 ball, that should naturally get position for the 8. All right, so Josh is able to immediately pick up that he's going to be shooting at the 6 ball. He just rolls it in, or tries to roll it in. All right, and look, what do I do here? I can shoot the 5 or the 3. Trying to remember, wasn't there a point in time where like I start like leaning back in my chair because it's so late when we're playing? This is still early in the evening.
Yeah.
Being that it's our first match. Because we played 4 matches in the same night, right? The 5th match was the next day.
Yeah.
All right, so there I am taking the 3. I think he still has the angle for the 5. I don't think it's a straight in shot. I do believe there's an angle to where when he shoots the 5 in, the cue ball can come into the rail and then come out for the 8. Or it goes into the rail and come out this way, and I shoot the 8 up here.
This is where I remembered what we did in the match in the semifinals to go to Vegas.
Did you move the cue ball here?
A little bit.
Look at that. Look at that. I can't ask you for any more than that.
I just did not want to get stuck behind that strike.
All right, see the bobblehead. Happy little tree and waterfalls. I'm pretty sure I'm going to try to draw the cue ball underneath the side pocket so I don't scratch. Rolling it in, I would end up scratching. Just like that. Yeah! I haven't got a chance to break yet. Here we go. Whack. Still didn't make a ball. Or did we? No, we did make a ball. What did we make? I'm not even paying attention. What did we make? I don't see the 3 ball. Are we solids? 10, 11, 12, 14. Yeah, I think we're solids. All right, so big issue right there. This is why it takes me so long to shoot. Like, I really have to sit there and contemplate, like, do I want to make a ball? Like, seriously? I'm not doing what I think I'm doing, am I? Oh, I tried it. I tried. Look at that. Hey, what? Anybody in the YouTube chat, because this doesn't work on Facebook, type in !APA. And if you and everybody else, let me know what APA stands for, because it doesn't stand for American Pool Player Association. Because let's go back and look at this. I was literally trying to power draw off that 2-ball and break our 1-ball out, and I got super lucky. Look at this. Like, it looked like, what did that 2-ball do? It went around the side pocket, over to the other side rail, and then banked back into the pocket that I wanted in. Whee! Look at that. Now, in BCA, that would have been fine, because that's the pocket that I'm going for. So is that a slop shot? I love how there's always this argument about how BCA doesn't allow slop shots and APA does. And since that was my intended pocket, even though it was APA, the way that I went, or the way the ball went, I'm clearly going to call that a slop shot. But in BCA, I mean, I would still be shooting. So do you classify it as a slop shot then? Or, yes, I always love using this word every now and again, fluke. You fluke a ball in. What's Josh thinking about doing here? Are you going to knock the opponent's ball in? Or are you trying to thread the needle?
Got it out of the way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Oh, I guess by this time our teammate got a little cold. Puts on a jacket. Look at me strike a pose like, what are we going to do now? Because all the while I'm still looking at that 1-ball. And he does too. Because I always let him know like what our trouble ball is, and we have to we as a team try to figure out how the heck we're going to deal with it. I only have one person. Oh, I got a couple of people that tried it. we got one of the colorful responses of what APA stands for. Any pocket anywhere from Jerry Wilson. I think that is one of the options that actually does pop up, because it's randomized. And I'm always asking for other people to think of other lingos of what it might mean, so I can add it to the list of what gets randomized when you type in !APA. So let me try it. !APA. Well, I got the colorful version as well. Let's see, Scott. Oh, I like that. All pockets active. I can add that to. I don't think that's in the list. But Scott, Dana, you're asking what's our combined handicap. So I'm a skill level 7 at this time frame, and Josh was a skill level 4, and it is still a skill level 4. So we're a combined total of 11. And the skill cap is supposed to be 10 when we qualified. But normally we would have already lost, because our opponents also are a skill level 11. The gentleman is a skill level 6, and the lady is a skill level 5. And she just went up to being a 5. Because normally, if we were both skill level 10s, it would be a race to 3, and we would have already lost by now. Boy, it looks like the colorful version of APA is getting a lot of notoriety here. Rick Sexton, Josh did move up to a skill level 5 in cities, but that didn't for whatever reason, and I don't even know how we get into it. It didn't reflect on his normal league play. You would think by now it would have.
Yeah.
So
we came into cities on a Friday night. I was a 4. I was a 4 on Saturday. Sunday was semifinals and finals. We got there Sunday morning, and I was a 5.
And he was a 5.
Because I 3-0'd a 4 the night before.
Yep.
3-0 reckless. So same skill level, not a higher skill level, same skill level.
Okay, so I don't even know how our 1 ball got freed since I was distracted, but it looks like we're ready to attack. All right, Josh can roll this 4 and get me position on the 5, and where the heck are we going to play the 8? Rick Sexton, I'm not sure how many innings was the 3 wins. I've lost count of the innings. I'm still trying to keep up, but I don't even think 25 is the right number right now. Because an inning is supposed to go up every time one of us miss, because we didn't win the lag. Oh, thank you, yes to Crypto. Our opponents made our 1 ball for us. They broke it out for us. That's something I do not recommend that you rely on. I know that's a very, very common strategy that's usually taught to lower skill level players is let your opponent do it for you. I do not recommend that strategy. Whoops. I guess I was trying to make sure that I didn't hit the 8. And so considering that I massively undercut the 5 ball, if I would have tried to actually make the 5 ball, I probably would have hit the 8 and fouled. Okay, there's nobody around our table now.
Not anymore. Now, what you can't see is there is a crowd of people behind the camera, but that's because YouTube star. So
you have your fans there as well. We had a supporting group with us. All right, so all the while, I'm actually curious if, I think that's their 10 ball, and you can see he's looking at it. Now, I'd be curious, though, because he's obviously looking to see if it goes, which I understand that. But I'd be curious sometimes to know whether or not if that's like signaling your teammate on what you should be doing, because we are going to see stuff like that in later matches. Now, I can probably honestly say that I don't think that was his intention of doing what he did. He was legitimately checking to see if the 10 ball passes by the 5 ball. But does anybody see what I'm talking about? How that can be kind of signaling like he made his shot. Go sit down. Let his teammate figure out what to do next. And not, there's no reason for him to look at the table anymore, as far as I'm concerned. Cue ball control sometimes wants to know if you have a home table, Josh.
yes, I do. It's in my shed, but my wife has decided that's where all the Christmas decorations go, so access to it is a little difficult sometimes. But I'm working on cleaning it up so I can get back out there.
And then Sensei Nate Plays Pool wants to know, do you play better under pressure ever and or with folks watching?
I'm one of those that the pressure, I think I was a little nervous at the start of this, but it's just playing pool. I just got to go out and do what he's taught me to do, and that's how I look at it. So I try not to let the pressure get to me.
And if I remember correctly, but it wasn't during this match. Was it? I remember during another match, I was like, dude, it's time to start hitting softer. Right? I don't remember I don't remember if it was during this match, but clearly he was a little nervous in this match here. Look at that. What a safety. Actually, that was before that, so I should do this.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and take a timeout right here.
What would y'all do here? Y'all know I like to do this from time to time. What's the response? Billiards Fun 78, you're saying, is it a rule to sit or allowed to stand? I don't think it matters as long as we're not in the way. So unfortunately, when there were other people, other matches going on, you're kind of obligated to sit down because you don't want to be in anybody's way. Now that you see this, like I remember, like I don't think it was during this match, but I know during another match when we kind of fell into the same category of nobody was around us, I'm like standing like two tables away, watching everything, and then coming back because I'm like marching back and forth because I'm like dead dog tired by the time this match was coming. So I had to stay on my feet to stay awake.
I think this match you do end up walking down to the other side of that table next to us.
Let's see, what do we got? So I see some 2-rail kicks. I see make the 10, or is that the 12? So unfortunately, that 10 ball passes the 5 ball. So shooting in the opponent's 12 ball would not be a good idea because you just have ball in hand on an open ball to an open pocket. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm trying to look and see what does it take to put the 10 ball in front of our 5 ball. Now, unfortunately, that causes us to not have a shot at our 5 ball as well, but it delays the game. It still gives us an opportunity to try to figure out what to do. So in my opinion, that is still the better play to make rather than trying to go for some sort of hero shot at this point in time, considering that our opponent is on the hill. Like we're struggling to try to climb back. Yeah, so unfortunately with the camera angle, you can't really see good angles on what ball goes where, but that safety play that our opponent did was really good because it freed up their ball to where now both balls are makeable. And you can see right here, here's where I'm getting the warning that we're taking too long. So I just said, just try to do this and then we're good. So clearly I must have went over a minute and our opponents were being nice enough saying, you know, it's time. You need to go ahead and let your player shoot. So he's just going to take an intentional foul and try to put the 10 ball in front of our 5 ball. Right? Now he didn't do it, but now our 5 ball does block the 10 ball. It can't, it's even though it's not where we want it to be, it can't go in. But you can see our 5 ball does go in. At least I don't think it went in, right?
Right.
Or did they figure out how to make it go? I don't remember. Maybe it does go in. Maybe I'm wrong. Or I don't remember correctly. You can see he's explaining to me possibly the 2-rail kick that he wanted to do, which is certainly an option. So maybe the ball does go. Oh, that's right. We had to tell them they had ball in hand, didn't we?
Yeah. I think he told her. I think he knew.
Okay.
I don't think that she realized she had ball in hand.
I think it was pretty clear to see that they also took over a minute. Yeah, there we go. But here was the problem, right? So she made it off of our ball, and look at the position that she put her teammate in. He has to bridge over our ball now, right? So that's to our favor. It just makes the shot a little bit more difficult. You can see he doesn't like it because it's a back cut shot, bridged over the 5 ball. And he undercuts the ball. So what the heck do I do? This is something I've learned a little bit more about in straight pool. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to... Like, how many of y'all would shoot this 5 in the side, or 5 in the corner, and then set it for the 8 in the opposite side pocket? Because I think that would be kind of natural, right? I honestly don't know what the heck I was trying to do there. I think I was actually trying to flare the cue ball 3 rails, and you can see that my top spin killed the cue ball on the first rail. Look at this. I think this is top left. Look at that. You see how the cue ball just died right after it hit the short or the side rail? So I'm pretty sure I was trying to get it to where the 8 ball should have gone into the same pocket. But looking at this in retrospect, because I see this a lot in straight pool, to where like I will play position for the 8 ball in the side pocket, meaning that if the 8 ball was my key ball to my next break ball for the next rack, I'm starting to get out of that, and instead of playing for the side pocket, I would try to play for the corner pocket. So I would have done what I did here. I just wouldn't have shot it as hard, and he would purposely be shooting the 8 ball in the opposite corner pocket, or in the left corner pocket instead of this pocket here. He's luckily shooting at this now because of what I did, because I was not expecting the cue ball to end up where it was at. Kevin E. Richardson, I hope I said that correctly. There is no 3 foul rule in APA 8 ball or in APA 9 ball. What can you say, right? Who cares if I mess up when he's carrying me? But we are hill to hill. Look at that. We were down 3-1. We're coming back with a vengeance.
And you get the break.
Oh, I get the break. Whenever I'm on the... Whoa. Okay, there we go. Whenever I'm on the break, do I make the 8 on the break? No. I made a ball, though. What did I make? What did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stripes. Has to be stripes. So this is gross. And this is a problem right here. So this is where you have to, depending upon where you're at, like if Josh knew how to shoot this ball in and break this ball out at the same time, that would be great. I personally would not hold it against Josh if he just took his turn and moved our ball out into the open. This ball right here. Right? You see? So he learns over time that when he sees how the cue ball naturally went where it went, so if he would have put bottom spin on the cue ball, he could have possibly tried to break out our ball at the same time, and then I'd have a shot here. I'd still have a similar shot here. Or am I going to do it? Yeah, see? So all I do is push our ball out into the open and try to freeze the cue ball next to their ball so their options are cut off. And then now our ball is at least a little bit more accessible. I love it. The score is 83-30. Oh, the placement of the O and our 8 in our team name doesn't help. That's awesome. All right, so when you look at a position like this, like it's not a bad idea to make the 2 ball. except I would probably make it with the cue ball. So that way the cue ball stays near the corner pocket. It kind of pushes our ball away from the pocket, but I think that's okay. Because if he attempts to make the 2-ball with our ball, watch where the cue ball goes. Even if he had made it, look where the cue ball's at in positions where they have options. So if he would have just hit the right side of our stripe and just billiard into the 2-ball, the cue ball would be somewhere near the corner pocket, and the only option they probably have is to shoot the 5-ball. Maybe shoot the 3-ball as well. But since you're so close to the rail, you're only accessing the top portion of the cue ball, so you can only use topspin, so you're limited on your control options. What happened there?
He missed all together. He didn't even hit the object ball.
Oh, he tried to cut the 7 and just missed altogether?
Yep.
Whoops. I don't think it's very often you get to see how many silly little antics I do at the table when I'm tired. Okay, that was on purpose. If I understand this question, cue ball control, do equal teammates have the same success as high or low level mixed? If I remember correctly, 2 5s won it, right? So statistically speaking, you would think that 2 5s are supposed to have the biggest chance at winning, because when you qualify as a 6 and a 4, I mean, when we played as a 7-3. We were playing up against 2 5s. We played up against 6s and 4s, and we were able to beat them. So it's obviously possible. But the likelihood of, when you think about it, when both of the opposing players are better than one teammate, then that kind of tips the scale in their favor, unless, of course, the layout of the table, a little bit of lady luck. There's a lot of things that are just harder to fight back against. So I personally would think by looking at the numbers, yeah, 2 5s would be more ideal to try to win an event like this. I'm trying to get you positioned on that 13 ball. I must be. It would be so great if you made the 13 ball, cue ball billiards into the 8, makes our 9, and I'm set up for the 14. That would be awesome. You're probably going to clip the 8. What did I say? Oh, you overcut the ball. I can see now I'm standing. Oops. He made both balls into that pocket. I don't think that's what he wanted. I think he only wanted one of them to drop, so that way his opponent or his teammate can use the other ball to get back out. What's going on, Dupree? Is this your other account, or is this still your tryhard account? The breaker is fine. Both the ones that the JF Force break cue that I use here in my garage, and even my actual breaker that I have, fantastic. I have no complaints about it. Do you remember what's going on through your head at this point? We're hill to hill. Like, what are you thinking or feeling during this moment?
Just don't mess up. Just make the shots when they're there and don't mess up.
Y'all are gonna love what happens here soon. And I tried to softly roll. I'm pretty sure that was a drag shot that I tried to do. So I hit that cue ball with some bottom spin and then hit it in such a way to hopefully that the bottom spin dies out by the time it gets there and it turns into a rolling cue ball. So it slows down dramatically. So that way I can try to get position on the 13 or the 14, but clearly I failed. So there I go. I walk off like I'm going like two tables down. What are you thinking about here?
I think clipping the 13 and knocking it in. I think that's what I'm lining up for.
Oh, what an attempt. What an attempt. Now, I love the position that we're in, right? Because look at that 5 ball. But watch what happens. This is great. Oh, holy cow. Kevin Richardson, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, thanks to you both. You're learning a lot as always and getting a bit better the more you play. Thanks again. Really do appreciate it, bud. Thank you so much. Where did I go? Am I 2 tables down again? Right? She's the one that does this, if I remember correctly. Yep. Look at me coming back to the table with a smile on my face. Why do I have a smile on my face? That is ridiculous. Let's just continue watching the match. I cannot make our 13, a ball that is sitting in the pocket, I cannot make it with the way the cue ball is at. And the 1 ball blocks the 14. She was supposed to make that 6 ball, and they're still supposed to be shooting. What the heck did I do here? I don't even remember. What did I try to do here? Oh, I tried to make their ball. That's what I tried to do. Of course I can try to draw off the 14 ball, but you really think I want to try to do that? I have no idea where the 14 would go if I try to do that and try to make the 13 ball. That's super risky, but of course it's an option.
Oh, that stupid 1 ball.
Yeah. You know, all the while, usually like when you look at matches like this, especially matches that go hill to hill, you think about moments to where like what could have turned the games around. So we've got a couple of misses by me. We got a couple of misses by Josh to where if we didn't miss those shots, the game would already be over. We would have won. That right there, in my opinion, regardless of the outcome, that determines what just happened there determines the outcome of the match. Now, I might have been able to tip it back to our favor if I would have made their 1 ball. Because right now we're at a disadvantage right now. Who cares that he missed that ball? We are at a severe disadvantage because that one ball is blocking the 8 ball. Look at that. That is ridiculous. What are you thinking here, Josh?
Thinking we need to free up that pocket.
Right? Because what do you do with the 14? Right? Do you bank the 14? You can clearly play the 13, and then what? We have to bank the 8. Like, is that really our only option? We can't talk to each other when our teammate is at the table, only during a timeout. And I don't remember if we use the timeout or not. Now, I'm actually okay with this decision because I still like where that 5 ball's at.
That was my intent, was to block the 8, but kind of give them the ability to go for that corner.
Right? Because now it's time for a safety battle. Of course, I can get froggy and try to shoot the 13 ball and break the 8 and the 10 out at the same time. But I ain't gonna do that. All right, still, the 1 ball didn't fall. I wanted the 1 ball to fall.
Even that guy's giggling because he knows that we want that 1 ball to fall and it won't.
Right? This is a good question for you, Josh. This is from Cue Ball Control sometimes. It says, do I push you hard enough to practice?
He says practice is up to you. You know the benefits of practice, but it's up to you. He doesn't tell you you have to practice.
Yeah, so this comes from the notion of how, you know, a lot of people like to get together and play League, you know, as a social activity, which I have no objections to that. But I find it very hilarious when I watch people that claim to play League under that condition and don't practice because they just come together to hang out with their friends and shoot and whatnot. But I watch how upset they get when they lose. And I mean, really upset. Right? So I have teammates that are like that as well. Some of them don't take it as serious as some of the other ones. And that's fine. It's just not fine when we see how upset they get for losing because their fun is based on winning, which is kind of a bass-backwards way of looking at it. So I've had conversations with some teammates before about, why are you getting so upset? You know, that you're losing. Well, you know, of course, they're like, well, because I want to win. And I just look at them and go, but you don't practice. And of course, sometimes their response is, well, I don't have time to practice. And I'm like, cool, did you hear me say that you need to practice? I'm not requiring you to practice. You're telling me that you want to come here and have fun. And that's all well and good. But when you're getting as angry as you're getting whenever you're losing, there's only one way to fix it. And that's to practice. Now, if you're not going to make time to practice or you don't have time to practice, then that's fine. The only thing I need you to change then is your attitude. Come in here, have fun, play to the best of your ability, because as you're playing, you're going to get better. It's just that since your practice is during League, you're going to get better slowly. And that's just the reality of things. And you just have to be able to accept that. Usually I get a pretty good response to that kind of talking to some of my teammates, and they understand where I'm coming from, and they're actually able to enjoy League a little bit more after that. And then after a while, you come to find out they do want to practice more and more and actually get better. I've already forgot what's happened here. Are we about to lose?
Yeah, I gave them ball in hand, and they were able to. finish it out here.
Hello, are we back? I just saw that you couldn't hear us. That was actually interesting. I don't know why the mic, the receiver on the mic turned off. Okay, cool. I have no idea what happened there. Technical difficulties. So let's switch back to this. Hi, everybody. So like, what can we say that we learned from, like, for me, I said before, so we had my bank shot on the 8 that I missed. We had your scratch, right? Two times we could have won. So we could have won this match a long time ago. But I hope everybody understands what I was talking about, that when our opponent missed that 6 ball and then the cue ball tucked right underneath the 13 ball, besides me missing my bank and him scratching on the 8, that was the turning point of the match. Because as far as I'm concerned, the 6 ball should have fell, they should have been shooting, or I should have had my shot at the 13. And then I would maneuver the cue ball to get on the other side of the 14 so Josh can shoot it into the same corner pocket, and then we would have been done right then and there as far as I'm concerned. But that's the way pool goes sometimes. I mean, you know, clearly what could we have done better? We could have missed less. I think the strategies that we had in play, at least for that match, worked out pretty darn. I don't know why we keep losing the sound, but now the sound should be back. So I would, just in case, I was asking Josh, what does he think that we could have done better besides missing less, right? That's the number one answer that always fixed it. If you miss less, you win more games. So what was your explanation for that? While I make sure this hopefully stays on.
It was a great match, but I think there were some spots where I should have, watching it back in retrospect, played different shots.
Anything else?
That's pretty much it. I'm worried about the mic going out.
Yeah.
There was one in particular where it was after the break, and I shot a ball into the corner where I could have shot the 7 into the side and had him in better position. So.
Yeah, so it looks like my receiver is going to go out. That's why mic check. So it might sound a little echoey, and you can like lower your voice because now the computer microphone is actually picking us up, and you can see how often it's actually kind of peaking So we can try to talk a little bit lower. So hopefully we're not blowing out anybody's ears. But it probably does sound a little bit more echoey now because these are still on. These still have a good charge. Just that the receiver has run its course on its battery, which surprises me because it only lasted. We were setting up the stream in the background, and so I think it's just been off the charger for like 4 hours. So I would hope that I'll have to charge it back up and to see that it's not supposed to last just 4 hours. It should have lasted a lot longer than that. Now the thing is I know we said we were probably going to review 2 matches, but it's 10:32 Central Standard Time, and I don't think you're probably up for reviewing another match, are you? That's what I figured. So I think we're going to go ahead and at least maybe end for the night, and we'll just reconvene to watch our next, because this in APA, when you do tournament style play, they do what's called a modified double elimination tournament, which basically means you are guaranteed to play twice. You're just not guaranteed to lose twice. So since this was our very first match, and I don't think we got a bye. That was the other thing too, because a bye, if you move to the next round via a bye, that's considered a match. So we lost our very first match. So we're not out of the tournament. We got put onto the B side. But what ends up happening, of what I mean by if you're guaranteed to play twice but not lose twice, is if we would win this match and then win the next match after that, if we lose the third match, we're done. I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we can win this match, lose the second match, and we're still in it. But once we get to round 3, if you lose, that's it. You're done. So fortunately, after this loss that we had here, we weren't done. Like I said, we have 4 more matches that we're going to review. So hopefully, maybe next time we'll start earlier in the day, so that way we do have time to review 2. So maybe next time we can review match 2 and 3, and then come back another time to review match 4 and 5. So before we cut out, if anybody has any last minute questions they want to try to ask us, you're more than willing to ask, and we will try to answer. Because otherwise, we will call it a night. Certainly want to thank everybody for being here. Oh, actually, you know what? Let me... I want to try to do something. Give me just a second. Switch to this. Go to this. And it's a copy. And I think turn this back to this. Turn this off. And then go... I think it's this. And so that way, hopefully... Yay! I got the highlighting chat working on this scene as well. And Sensei Nate Plays Pool says that you played great. Let's see here. Loping CSF saying looking forward to more match reviews. This is your favorite content. I really do appreciate that. I did not know. I'm going to have to research this because I really want to know more about it. But apparently July 20th was Billiards Day. I know it's July 22nd, so it's already passed, but I didn't know we had an actual Billiards Day. So that's really interesting. We'll have to take a look at that. Goba44 says apparently you're going to be making 5-rail shots at some point in time. All right, let's see what's going on here. There's over 70 plus people still in here. I don't know how many are watching on YouTube. Looks like I still got a couple of people on YouTube. Or, I mean, yeah, why did I say YouTube? I meant on Facebook. So yeah. Let's see here. Hey Ben, how's it going? Yes, we will be seeing you later. Ooh. Apparently we don't want a piece of Roy Munson in Cutthroat. Isn't that the 15 ball game where player 1 is 1 through 5 and player 2 is 6? You never played Cutthroat before? Right? Am I thinking of this? Am I thinking of the correct game? Player 1 is balls 1 through 5, player 2 is balls 6 through 10, and player 3 is balls 11 through 15, and the objective is to shoot the other player's balls and have your set of balls last on the table. I haven't played Cutthroat in forever. It is a fun game. Apparently I got it right because people are remembering this stuff. Okay, so yeah, I think we're pretty much going to go ahead and end the stream for tonight. So I do apologize that I did advertise that we're going to review 2, but that first match took a lot longer than I had remembered. And like I said, it's getting much late in the evening, and I don't want to hold Josh up any longer than I have to. But so next time we will hopefully try to schedule the next one much earlier in the day, so that way we do have room or time to review 2 matches at once. And I'll definitely try to make sure that the microphones are working appropriately. I have no idea why my wireless, the receiver went out while these are still functioning just fine. And the receiver is plugged in via USB, so I would think it should be pulling a charge at the same time that it's transferring voice data. But yeah, so this is pretty much going to end things for the night. I really appreciate every one of y'all stopping by. Hopefully what y'all saw here and the way that we talked about in between how skill level 4 plays paired up with the skill level 7 and the strategies that we use, and the way I talked about certain things and the way Josh vocalized some of his thoughts. I got to make sure to include you more on some of the thought process. I know that I tended to talk more on it. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Okay, so that's at the very least. So it's not often that I have, like, I would say, like a co-host here with me. It's not like I'm doing an interview like I've done before, where I would actually talk to someone to figure out to learn more about them. So we'll hopefully try to do better for the next time. So I think in the meantime, everybody, thanks once again for being here, and have a good night.